Hi, Assalamualaikum. We are from Yellow Day, and today we are going to present about type and principle of non-verbal communication based on our movie that we choose. The movie that we choose is Encanto from Disney. On the other hand, we found some type of non-verbal communication, which is artifact, body movement, environment, paralanguage, touch, and space. And also, we found some principle of non-verbal communication in the movie, which is non-verbal communication is the key in the speaker and audience relationship. Non-verbal message communicate feelings and attitude. Non-verbal communication can add to or replace verbal communication. And lastly, nonverbal communication can be intentional or unintentional. The first one is artifact. What we wear on our body could show our role and position.
The house is in danger! The tiles were falling and there were cracks everywhere. And the candle almost went out.
In this scene, we can see that Mirabel's grandmother wears a black robe during the occasion. The black robe shows that her grandmother is the leader or someone higher in the family. Moreover, the robe presents to other people that she must be respected on the occasion because she is the leader of her family. After all, our artifact that we wear on our body represent our self-concept to project our role, status, or personality. Artifact could also help us to communicate with other people, whether we want them to be formal or informal with us. Therefore, the artifacts match with the principle of non-verbal communication, which is non-verbal communication is the key in the speaker and audience relationship. This demonstrates that we may form assumptions about someone on our first meeting without saying anything. However, it is not accurate to our expectation because non-verbal communication certainly affects our first impression, whether it is good or bad. Moreover, the assumptions is based on what they wear, their characteristic and surrounding. For example, everyone in the occasion could assume that Mirabel's grandmother is the leader of the family because of the robe that she wears. Also, it is a sign to everyone to respect her during the event.
Please.
Pa, the cream?
Peppa, the cloud.
In this clip, you can clearly notice that there is body movements or kinesics involved, which were portrayed by the woman in the yellow dress, Peppa Madrigal. This event unfolded during the family dinner with the Guzman. Later on, the family members were whispering horrible news to one another discreetly. After Peppa's turn, she was taken aback by the news and lost control of her emotions, which turned the cloud above her head gloomy. Hence, in order to avoid suspicious or disaster during the family dinner, she conveys her feeling by playing with her hair in the hope to calm herself down. Playing with her hair complements the verbal messages of feeling dismayed and shocked after hearing the bad news. Consequently, this act reinforces her emotions and feeling ideally through her body movements. Particularly, this scene demonstrates that body movements are associated with the principle in which non-verbal communication can add to or replace verbal communication, seeing that we often use non-verbal expressions to replace words we might otherwise say. For instance, we utilize a non-verbal gesture called adapter to help us feel secure and comfortable in each contact, just like Peppa when she plays with her hair. That action is called self-adapter, in which the action serves no apparent purpose but only to calm her down.
Mirabel. He sent me you.
For this one, we can see that touch or haptic is presented between the two family members, which are Mirabel and her grandmother. Previously in the movie, both of them were having a conflict over family events that made them fall apart. Shortly afterwards, They talk things out and finally make up with each other by giving a hug. A hug is being used to replace verbal communication of saying I love you or I'm sorry for all the things that happened before. Since verbal communication is not sufficient enough to showcase the emotions that are being presented by them. By giving a hug, it enhances the communication between them by mending and strengthening the family bond that was previously broken. Finally, this interaction brings a positive outcome, and it is a crucial moment in which they show their affections toward each other by touch. Specifically, this scene proves that touch is correlated with the principle of nonverbal communication, in which nonverbal messages communicate feelings and attitudes. This is owing to the fact that we humans rarely communicate emotional actions or messages verbally. We tend to communicate our emotions non-verbally through vocal cues, body position, and movement, just like when Mirabel and her grandmother hug each other. The hug symbolizes their affections and attitude toward one another.
The next type of nonverbal communication that we found in this movie is paralanguage.
What do you think my gift will be?
You are a wonder, Mirabel Madrigal. Whatever gift awaits will be just as special as you.
Her granddaughter asked the old lady what her gift will be. In their family, there is a ceremony on this one specific night where all the family members gather around to watch the kids receive their gift, magical ability normal people don't have. The old lady then replied to her granddaughter with an answer is not really specific, but her way in answering the question by giving an answer using a convincing intonation that whatever gift her granddaughter will receive, it will be going to be such a wonderful and special gift for her. She did not answer the question with a fast pace or just a short answer. She took her time and a bit of pause in her answer to give the best answer that might give a high probability for the question to be answered in the most satisfying way. This scene has a relationship with one of the nonverbal communication principles, which is nonverbal communication can be intentional or unintentional. In everyday life, some people would like to not answer the questions given with a straightforward or specific answer, which happens intentionally or unintentionally. It might be because that person doesn't really know how to answer that question, yet he is still trying to give the most probable best answer that would convince the person to be satisfied with it. Well, in this case, it is exactly what Mirabel's grandmother did. Other than that, I have also found another type of nonverbal communication, which is space.
Have you lost your mind?
Isa, I feel like you're upset. And you know what cures being upset? A warm embrace.
Get out.
This scene is when Mirabel entered her sister's room, Isabella, to embrace her in order to fix the current chaotic situation that happens because of a mistake that she made. After she had already entered the room, her sister asked her to get out. This is because Isabella doesn't want her to be too close, and she is also upset with Mirabel.
How long have you been back here?
You never left.
This scene shows us how the environment describes someone's personality. As we saw, Mirabel entered Bruno's room and found out that his room was disgusting and full of rats, which indicates that Bruno never leaves his room. Bruno's room environment makes Mirabel feel uneasy during the scene. However, Bruno felt nothing because he has been there. He never left his room. He felt like there is nothing wrong about his room's condition. Indeed, our environment could describe us as who we are. It doesn't matter if our surroundings are in an exquisite or in a horrible condition. We decided ourselves in order to prevent other people from giving us negative perception of ourselves. From the situation, environment also has a link with the principle of nonverbal communication, which is nonverbal communication is the key in speaker/audience's relationship. This shows that we can make an assumption on our first encounter with people before engaging them with words. The assumption is based on what they wear, their characteristics, and their surroundings. Sometimes it doesn't exceed our expectations because nonverbal communication affects our first impressions towards people. Nonverbal communication such as space, environment, and artifact could contribute to someone's assumptions of ourselves. To wrap it up, after dissecting this wonderful movie, we are able to identify the 6 types of nonverbal communication that we have learned in class, which are artifacts, body movement, touch, paralanguage, space, and environment. That relates to 4 principles of nonverbal communication based on their respective situations occurred in the movie. With that said, that is all from our group Yellow Day. Should you have any questions or any unclear information, you may ask any of us right after the recording is finished. Thank you all for listening and adios.